everybody. This is Dowda Silva, your co-host for the IQ Central Dialogue. It's been a pleasure, having most of the interaction that we've been receiving for the past few weeks. We've been trying to be very consistent with the content that we create, bringing in Gambian-based players, coaches from Division One here in the United States to sport journalists and all of those stuff. And today, we also wanted to look into another industry. It's still in the sports, but a personal trainer, an athletic and performance trainer that is here in the United States and have been very, very much influential in my life as an individual before an athlete. And as an athlete, for the past few years that I've met him, I've grown a lot better since coming to the United States and adjusting to how fast, the United States works. So he's been super, super influential in my life, and it's a pleasure to have him here. I would like to introduce, Coach Jack and give him the floor to introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. My name is Coach Jack. I'm a sports performance trainer and mentor. I've been training athletes for over 20 years now. I'm based here in Kennesaw, Georgia. I have a facility that's been up and running since 2011. And, we just try to make athletes better every day, from just knowing how to work, how to breathe, proper technique, nutrition, things like that to bring everything together. So I was a former professional athlete, NFL hopeful back in the 90s.
Mhm.
Um, Tried to play football a little bit. So, I got into sports performance just based on when I started having kids and they started playing sports and trying to get them the proper training and get them ready for being an athlete. So that's how Ultimate Sports and Fitness got started.
Amazing, amazing. I think the first time that I saw you, the impression that I had was like maybe he was a football player because of your physique. Very well built, and I was like, wow, I'm pretty sure he played professionally. I knew like you played football, but I was like, maybe he played professionally. But yeah, I mean, that's a great introduction. Very well experienced and a lot of knowledge that you have. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm continue learning. So yeah, so what inspired you to dedicate your career in helping athletes improve athletically and you know deciding to take this as your field?
But honestly, it was just based off of need of what I seen. Like I said, I wanted my kids to excel in sports. So having them at an early age excel, a parent started asking me, and it kind of happened organically.
Mhm.
Um, but I always try to help kids in my neighborhood back home in New York, where I'm from. They seen me pretty much come through the ranks and have all these NFL tryouts and stuff like that. So I used to do stuff even before I started having kids with the neighborhood guys in my community. So I thought it was always a need, and just sharing my experience, how hard it is to be a professional athlete, um, and to make this a real live touchable thing. Like people make this stuff super expensive and out of reach for a lot of people. They don't have, the information to go about picking a trainer or how the process works and things like that, especially when I was growing up. So, with social media and YouTube now, people could pretty much look online and try to figure stuff out. But with us at Ultimate Sports, we give kids real direction, real programs to follow, to see your progressions, to see how you get better and things like that. So to answer your question, it was just more of a passion turned into a purpose, you know? So like I said, I've seen a need for it, especially in my neighborhood with young kids inspiring, trying to be professional athletes or at least go to college. So I gave them a sense of direction, show them how to work, how to rest, recovery, stuff like that. So, and it just snowballed from there, and I decided to make a career out of it.
Good. Yes, sir. I
So,
mean, like I said, we talked about this when it comes to, athletes, performance and improvement. You have one of the best programs here in Georgia. Clearly, a lot of D1 programs reach out to you. A lot of high school programs that play AAU reach out to you. And then, like you said, you have worked with a lot of D1 and professional athletes. So it's not without a doubt that this is the best program in Georgia. I've tried working out with a lot of people, not only here in the United States, but I'm an athlete. So when I started working out with you, immediately I saw the difference. I came in because I was hurt, and
Right,
the first impression you told me was like, you're acting weak, you're scared mentally right now, and that was a.
right.
I mean, most people, can train you, but it's not everybody that can truly understand you mentally and physically and see how your body is moving and how your mind is moving. And that's one thing that I've learned immediately when I started working with you. And I was like, yeah, I think this is the guy. I'm not moving to any other trainer.
Well, I appreciate that, but mostly with athletes, it's all mental, right? Everything, your mental approach, how you see things, how especially after injury, you question yourself. I've been there. I've been injured, so I've been down that road. So my experience helped me with guys like you or other guys that come off an injury. They apprehensive about moving, they apprehensive about pushing themselves, and things like that. So um, for me, I could tell them, hey, look, only way you could get back if you attack yourself mentally, right? And I'm not going to put any athlete in a position to hurt themselves. So if you trust me, you got to trust the process, and we'll go together. I'm gonna be there every step of the way, and I think that's important. A lot of guys like my age or my era think it's all about just lifting heavy weights. It's not. It's about recovery. It's about resting, active recovery as well, and just mobility, things that all that bring you together as an athlete, right? You just can't just lift 1,000 pounds and you be an athlete. You better be able to have to move, uh, force production, things like that, strength, power, isometrics. So in my journey, I went back to school for a lot of this stuff. I take certificate classes every couple of years, see what's new, just look at the science and see, um, what's viable for my athletes and to add to my program. I always said as a coach or, a person, if you're not continuing to learn, you're stunting your growth, right? So for me, I'm always willing to learn. I got other trainers in my gym. I learn from those guys. I see him every day. Coach Ken, shout out to him. Shout out to Coach Tony, and Coach Anthony on the basketball side. Just having a good group of guys to, work with and to learn from. That's great. I know they learn from me, but I also learn from them,
Mhm.
and iron sharpens iron, man. We compete with each other when we have our clients in there. We go hard and stuff like that. But that's the nature of being a competitor. That's the nature of wanting to be the best and pushing guys around you, not only your athletes, but your trainers and your staff around you to be a better them because they make me better.
Mhm.
Right. So, for that part of it, it's all in your preparation, how you schedule your program and things like that, and making sure the athletes get the best of you each and every day,
Mhm.
pretty much. So
Yes, sir. I mean, you said it all. I mean, one thing I like about your program is the structure. Before even talking about how you do things, it's just like the coaches that come in, like you said, Coach Ken, Coach Anthony, and the baseball coach, I forgot his name again.
Coach Tony.
Yes, so the structure there is incredibly great. I mean, as a black coach, we talked about this. You talked about how an African coming in here, I have to adjust and not stick to, the old ways where we come in late and all of those stuff. So I've learned a lot, and I've seen how you structure yourself with the scheduling with different coaches, different kids coming in, and it works like smoothly. I mean, that's one thing that I really appreciate about your program.
Well, listen, I mean, it's sports is like life, right? It parallels, right? Nobody's going to give us anything. We have to go out there and work hard for it. And even, working hard doesn't guarantee success, right?
Mhm.
Thinking how you think, how you prepare. And I just want all my guys. I talk to my guys all the time. Hey, if you're gonna be late, communicate with me. Don't communicate with me at the time you're gonna be late, right? So if
Yeah.
it's you supposed to be at 9 o'clock, I don't want to hear get a text at 9:02. Hey, coach, I'm gonna be a few minutes late, right? Because if you're trying to play at the high level,
Mhm.
there's some responsibility there, right? Coaches tell you, especially college coaches, man, if practice at 8 o'clock and you're not there at 7:30, you're late. I
Mhm.
want the same respect. I was in NFL camps and I know, for those meetings and things like that, you had to be before time, right? And you look at how, those guys that play at a high level, how they approach their professionalism, you learn from those guys. So I try to, like I said, just try to show all these young guys how to be a better athlete. This is not high school, especially you going to a D1 program or a D2 program. It doesn't matter which program you go to. Show the coaches respect. Have time management. Be prepared to be the best athlete you could be. And showing up and being ready. Some guys come in at 9 and now they got to change their shoes out of their slides, do all this nonsense. Now you behind the clock. And I
Mhm.
tell you guys, you behind my clock. You shouldn't be doing that. You should come a little bit early, change out your shoes and all that kind of stuff. Then we do our dynamic warm-ups and our runs and we get to work. But the main thing is just your approach. Be mindful of your approach. And I want that respect. And I want that, I demand that respect, you know, because I communicate with you guys like, hey, if I'm not in, but that's hardly rare that I'm missing sessions and things like that. So the main thing is just, explain to young guys how to prepare for the next level, right? Because everybody goes from one level to the next thinking it's the same. High school and college is different.
Mhm.
College to the pros is way different. You know what I'm saying? So I try to, make sure all the guys understand, hey, being on time, communicating. Those are the things that's just some of the things that you should be done automatically, right? You should be in high school learning how to do that,
Mhm. That's
you
right.
know. Because if you go to any of these programs late every day, what you think is going to happen to you?
You're gonna
You
get
know what I'm
kicked out
saying?
of the program.
These coaches ain't playing no games because
Yeah.
guess what? It's time, right? Now we have to wait for you to do all. No, we don't got time for that.
Mhm.
We trying to get better. So just trying to teach these young men how to respect their time and respect other people's time.
Mhm. Absolutely. In your experience, what are the biggest mistakes that young athletes do when pursuing college or professional sports?
Um, Honestly, I just think some guys just take on too much information and they don't really understand the process of how to get to the next level, right? Like I touched on just now, just time management, thinking everything that they got time,
Mhm.
goofing around. Like if you're trying to be a professional athlete or athlete at a D1 level, whether it's mid major or Power Five, you have to be really in tuned and detailed on what you need to be doing. All right, getting up in the morning, go you do your workouts, whatever have you, schoolwork, just time management, and also just with social media, you could put your stuff out there. You could put, but all that stuff has to have some type of substance, right?
Mhm.
Like you like nowadays, I see it in basketball. A lot of guys have get these highlights tapes,
Yeah.
and you know what I'm saying. Then you come to a couple of games in real life, and it's like, hold up,
This
this
is
don't match. This don't match. Like, you know what I'm saying. So everybody's looking to floss,
Mhm.
right? Instead of just building on your craft and truly working and grinding. Everybody looking to make that highlight tape. That's cool because that's the way of how people advertise themselves,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But if you're not that good and you just had a bunch of clips where you made some highlights in one or two games
Mhm.
in a tournament, that's kind of like it's kind of like it's fraud. Like you know what I'm saying. So what
Yeah.
I would tell young guys, consistency is the key.
Mhm.
Approach your sport consistently. Do the small, boring things every day. Because when you walk, right, you put one foot in front of the other. So that's how you have to approach your 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 athletic career. Just one step. Everybody's trying to get to a space or a place and skipping the process of that. So I'll tell you guys, young guys, hey, slow down, have a plan, and attack that plan. And there's nothing wrong with changing the plan every once in a while. you know what I'm saying, based on where you are, but have the vision for yourself. All right, this is what I want to do. Okay, now I have to, you know, get there, right? So that plan, that roadmap, it's just simple stuff, man. Just write it down, right? Hey, boom, 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 boom. And never be scared to ask questions, never be scared to get information.
Mhm.
But I think too much information could be make you go crazy. It could be overwhelming at
Mhm.
some point, right? Because you could have ten different coaches like myself give you 10 different answers, right?
Mhm.
And every journey is going to be different. Every trainer going to have, this go-to exercises. Like,
Right.
I'll give you for instance in our gym, me and Coach Ken, we have different philosophies, but the end goal is the same for our athletes,
Mhm.
right? Mental toughness, being strong, being athletic, just really working and having the mental fortitude when stuff don't go your way, self-correction, things like that in real time, right? Like get that rep right. Like I'm
Yeah.
not here to babysit you,
Mhm.
right? Because we tell you verbally and we visually can show you
That's
what we
right.
need from you, right?
Mhm.
So paying attention to details is key. Like all those things play a part in your development as an athlete
Yeah.
and the willingness to listen,
Mhm.
right? So, those are the things I would say to get guys going on the right track. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, it doesn't really change. You have to put the work in. Because again, everybody's trying to do what you do. And when you look at the professional numbers,
Mhm.
they don't add up, right? So
Yeah.
there's only 32 teams in the NBA or 30 teams in the NBA.
Yeah.
So in the 15-man roster,
Yeah.
that's about 400, somebody, that's 400,
And we've seen it in
400
the
plus
finals.
people.
We've seen it in the playoffs. There's a lot of people that didn't even touch the floor. Like,
Right. So that's what I'm saying, right? But to get to that level, to get to the NBA level, you still have to, within the NBA, get to levels,
yeah.
right? So, and you take that kid, Harper, for instance, off the Spurs,
Mhm.
he made every bit of his opportunity count for him,
That's
right?
right.
Because that's what they was talking about all series long, just how Harper came in as a rookie, right? A rookie ain't supposed to do what he did, but it's the mindset,
With the mindset.
and it also helped to have a father that played in the NBA that won a couple of titles,
Yeah.
five to be exact. I think Harper had five, but
Mhm.
um, you know, he had a dad to actually live it and
Mhm.
do it,
Yeah.
you know. But at the same time, that's not his dad's story. That's his story. He carved out his own way,
Hmm.
right? But he had the mentality to do that.
That's
So I
right.
think you gotta have the mentality, man. Because everything like running a business, having a family, all this stuff is not easy,
Hmm.
right? So when you look at it, you just gotta know what you want to do for yourself.
Yeah.
Some guys know, there's no plan B. You know what I'm saying? They just,
That's right.
you know, um, but it's doable. Also, you gotta just believe in yourself, man. That's one thing I tell my athletes all the time. Like, I believe my confidence level is crazy. It still is to this day. I don't care about nothing, man. Like,
I
hey,
know.
you gotta you gotta kill me to beat me. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? I mean, that's the ultimate competitor. I am not. You know what I'm saying? I tell this story all the time. Like, shoot, if I fight Mike Tyson, I'm knocking Mike Tyson out. That's the belief I have in
Yeah.
me, right? Because you can't go in there scared. And the guys that went in that ring with Mike Tyson that wasn't scared, they
Yeah.
wound up beating him. There's
Mhm.
only six guys in history that beat Mike Tyson. Well, seven, I guess, if you count Jake Paul. But
It don't count.
yeah, but in Mike Tyson's career, he lost six times.
Mhm.
Buster Douglas went in there, wild underdog, man, and that fight was on my 16th birthday.
Oh wow.
And like, I'm a big, huge Mike Tyson fan,
Mhm.
and for him to take that loss from a guy that was a bum, so-called bum,
Mhm.
he knocked him out. He
Yeah.
knocked Mike Tyson out, right? So he had the supreme confidence to do that.
It was just a confident just stepping in the ring.
Yes, yes.
The same thing applies to other sports. Like before you step into the court or going on the field, it's all about just understanding this. And I think, yeah,
But
that's very important there.
I'll give you another example, like Allen Iverson.
Hmm.
He loved Michael Jordan, but when he got on the court against Michael Jordan,
Yeah,
yo, I'm trying to take your head off.
that's
It's
where the
like you
crossover
cannot,
thing is.
yeah, you can't
Yeah.
be scared of these dudes, man. Like nobody's supposed to die in sports, right? Like it's not combat war with guns. It's combat with your mental and your physical,
Yes, it is.
right? And Allen Iverson, man, it's gonna be him or me, and it ain't gonna be me, right? So you got to have that dog mentality and that ultimate confidence in yourself. Believe in your work, like believe in the work you put in. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? So to get that confidence, right? Like it was just, confidence is the difference between a lot of athletes. Some
It's
athletes just don't have the
it's a key
confidence.
factor. It's a key factor when it comes to sport. I mean, we've seen it with so many players and in the NFL, in the NBA. Now we're having the World Cup. We're gonna see that. A lot of people that
Yeah,
approach the World Cup different would be the one that stands out the most, and we're gonna see it very soon. We can see
for
the
sure.
first game in the in the United States here when it was when the United States won by 4-1, and then we saw how it was really important because it was a home game, and the fact that they had their crowd here built up the
Right.
confidence. So yeah, I mean,
Absolutely.
yeah, that's really important.